decimals, percentages and ratios. We've done BIDMAS and formula. We've converted units, we've done plan and scale, and we've done angles and bearings. We've done our shapes, so 2D and 3D shapes, and our perimeter, area and volume. And we've also, last week, we were looking at drawing and interpreting our graphs and charts, as well as our mean, median, mode and range. And the last thing on there is probability. So we did do that, but way back in week 2, we combined that with our fractions. So these are all the things that you could possibly get questions about. So these are the areas that we need to kind of make sure that we have some familiarity with. So let's get started then with some exam questions. First one then, this is non-calculator methods. So for this question, no calculators, please. See what you can do. You've got 3 questions there. Overall, a total of 4 marks. I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Have a go at these questions for me, and we'll go through the answer in a second. I want you to be focusing on your methods. If you do want to practice any non-calculator stuff, you're very welcome to. But for the rest of the questions, you can use a calculator. So here's the first one. Bradley goes on a 25-kilometre bike ride each week. He wants to monitor his recovery heart rate. So he records it 10 minutes after each bike ride. After ride 1, his recovery heart rate was 162. And after ride 7, it was 135. Bradley thinks his recovery heart rate from ride 1 to 7 has decreased by 1/5. So has it gone down by 1/5? So you've got 3 minutes for this question. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to find 1/5 of 162. That's his starting heart rate, ride 1. And we want to see if between ride 1 and 7 it's gone down by 1/5. So we want to find 1/5 of 162. So to do that, if you know how to do fractions or you have a method, that's absolutely fine. If not, the method we use is divide by the bottom. I've not really left myself enough space to write that. That's bottom, and then times by top. So we're going to do 162 divided by 5. That's the bottom value of our fraction. That gives us 32.4. And then we times by our top. In this instance, it's 1, so it's just going to be the same number, so you don't have to do that step. However, you do have to remember that step in case it wasn't a 1. If that was a 4, for example, you need to know what to do with it. So 1/5 of 162 is 32.4. And now we take that away from the 162. That's going to give us 129.6. So if we decrease 162 by 1/5, we come to 129.6. The answer here, however, is 135. So no, that hasn't gone down by 1/5. 3 marks for that question, 1 for saying no, 1 for finding 1/5, and 1 for taking it away. Okay, let's look at the next one. So percentage question this time. The Lawson family want to go to the safari park and they see this online offer. So the offer is this bit here: buy online and save 18% off the normal ticket price. They're a family of 2 adults, 2 children over the age of 3 and 1 senior citizen. They will visit the safari park on Sunday. Mrs. Lawson uses this online offer to pay for the tickets for all the family. She wants to pay as little as possible. You need to work out how much she will pay in total for all of the tickets. So 5-mark question, you've got 5 minutes for this one. You get no marks, it means you can still get 3 marks if you do your percentage correctly. So we've got 2 adults, 2 children and a senior citizen. We're going on a Sunday, which means we're looking at the peak column. We're going to take the family ticket and the senior citizen ticket. Add those 2 together. £69.50. So that's how much the tickets are without the offer. And then we're going to find 18% of that value. So again, there's a few different ways to do percentages. You might have a different method, but if it's something that you don't know how to do, then think of it like your fraction. 18% is 18 per 100, so you can turn it straight into a fraction like that and follow the same method. So do 69.50 divided by 100, 0.695, and then times that by 18. That will give you £12.51. That's the discount. We need to take that away from our original price. I'll take it way up here because I'm running out of space. Which means the cost of the tickets will be 56. Oh no, not. Can't even copy my own numbers down. 51. 56.99 is our final price. So, in terms of your marks, you get 1 mark for your final answer. You get a mark for doing the 18% and a mark for taking it away. And then there are 2 marks up for grabs for finding your value, so of the original tickets. So if you have come up with, some people have done 2 adults and added this together twice and 2 children and then the senior citizen, you can still get 1 mark for that, 1 mark for your 18% and 1 mark for your discount. So you can still get 3 marks if you chose the wrong values in your table. Equally, you might have gone down the off-peak column, or you might have missed the senior citizen. I've had people do that too. So if you've got your totals wrong from the price list, but you did find 18% and take it away, you can still get 3 of the 5 marks. If you did get the right totals, however, all 5 marks up for grabs. Okay, let's look at the next one. Slightly different type of question, this one. Still percentages, though. So Lapin has this information about the number of sales a company made last month. So our table, we've got types of customers. We've got first-time and returning customers. And we've also got a type of product. So we've got new, existing, and clearance. You need to work out what percentage of the products sold last month to first-time customers were new products. And then it says, give your answer to 1 decimal place. What that tells you is it's not going to be a very nice answer, and we're going to have to do some rounding. There's a clue there. So what we 1, 2. So we've got 3 marks for this question. So you got 3 minutes on this one. Another. Again, we did this in week 3, so it was a long time ago now. What we want to do, though, is we want to work out our total number of products versus the specific number we're looking at. So we're basically trying to write a fraction here, and then we're going to convert it into a percentage. So we're looking at the number of products sold last month to first-time customers. So we want to add up this column here. So 1634 plus 435 plus 731. That should come to 2,800. That's our bottom number. And then we're looking specifically at how many of those were new products. So that's this top number, 1634. So that's it as a fraction. 1,634 out of the 2,800 products were new products. And we're going to convert that into a percentage. So to do that, we need to go through via the decimal first. So we want to divide our top number by our bottom number. And that's going to come to 0.583, big old number, as I said, 57143. And then to turn that into a percentage, we're going to times it by 100. Because whenever percentages are involved, 100 is going to pop up somewhere. So that's going to be 58.357143. And now we can do the last bit and round it to 1 decimal place. So the number before our first decimal place is a 5, which means we're rounding up. So it's going to become 58.4%. This, as I said, 3-mark question. So you're basically getting 2 marks just for getting your numbers right here. So if you got one of those numbers wrong but the other one right, you can still get 1 of the marks. And then you get a mark for, oh no, it's a 4-mark question, sorry. 1 mark for turning into a percentage and then 1 for rounding it at the end. 4 marks, didn't give you enough time.
Daisy, sorry,
Yep.
58.4, why is 4? Will you please explain? If there is a 5, I can see 5, that means it's coming 4. If there is 6, what will happen then? Is 5 will come?
It would now become 58.4. So if this number is 5 or above, the one but next to it goes up.
Ah, okay. I understand now. Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Here's our next one, a ratio question. So a company stocks 240 different products, and they're stocked in the ratio new 3, existing 2, and clearance 1. Lapin thinks it stocks 117 new products. Is Lapin correct? And show why you think this. So this is a 2-mark question. You've got 2 minutes on this one. Add up the numbers in our ratio first. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. And we're going to split our total number into 6 parts. So we're doing 240 divided by 6 to get 40. And the new section is 3 of those parts. So we're going to times our 40 by 3 to get 120. So Lapin thinks they stopped 117. It's actually 120. So is she correct? No, sorry. 2 marks for that one. So you only get 1 mark for all of that ratio, and then 1 mark for your yes or no.
Katie,
Mhm.
what about if you do it like 3/6 times 240?
Yeah, it's the same principle. You've done the same thing. You've divided by 6 and times by 3.
Oh, okay. And when you do it 3/6 times 240, when you try to simplify the 3/6,
Yeah.
there is no need to simplify, because when you simplify, you get a different answer. But if you don't simplify, you get the 120.
Even if you simplify, you should still get the same answer. Because if you simplify 3/6, that will become half, and half of 240 is 120. So you should get the same answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as your method gets you to the right answer, it's okay if you've done something different.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. So here's our next one, formula question. The Lawson family lives 65 miles from the safari park. They will leave at 3:30 p.m. The average speed of the journey home will be 50 miles per hour, and they need to arrive home by 4:45. Will they arrive home by 4:45? So this is a 3-mark question. So you have 3 minutes for this one. You haven't been given a formula here, but you need to try and remember your formula triangle for your distance, speed and time. So take 3 minutes for this one. So if we remember our triangle, distance at the top, speed and time, so in alphabetical order. We've been given a distance and we've been given a speed, and we're trying to work out time. We're trying to see how long it takes them. So we're doing distance divided by speed, D over the S. So to do that, we take our distance of 65 and we divide it by our speed of 50. So we should get 1.3. And that's going to be 1.3 hours because it's 50 miles per hour. We need to add this on to our 3:30. However, we can't do it directly because 0.3 hours is not the same as 30 minutes because our decimals are working to tens and our time is working to 60s. So 60 minutes in an hour. So what we need to do then is times our 1.3 by how many minutes are in an hour. That should give us 78 minutes. And then we can add that onto our 3:30. So that should take us to 4:48 p.m. So no, they won't arrive home in time. So I've done the whole 1.3 times 60. You can just do the 0.3. You'd get 18 minutes. And then add on your hour. 3:30 plus an hour is 4:30, and then your extra 18 minutes. Either one's fine, it's the same thing. But the answer is no. Only by 3 minutes, but still no. So 3-mark question. 1 for our no. 1 for our working out our formula, and 1 for converting it into our correct minutes and time. Okay. Another formula question. So this time we've been given a proper formula to work with. So Matt wants to buy some furniture for a house. He borrows £3,000 and he needs to pay a borrowing fee. He's going to repay the $3,000 and the fee over 18 months. And he uses this formula to work out the amount of money he will need to repay. So R equals A times 1.034 over N. R is the amount of money he's repaying, so that's what we're looking for. A is the amount of money he borrowed, and N is the number of months that it will take him to pay the money back. He thinks that the amount of money he will be repaying each month is more than £170. We need to find out if that's true and then show a check of your working. So 4-mark question, you got 4 minutes for this one. 3,000 times 1.034. Dividing that whole thing by N, which is going to be our 18 months, our number of months. So we should get 3,102 divided by 18, which is 172.3, and I think it's 3333 forever. But it's money, so we only want 2 decimal places. We're going to leave it £172.33. So yes, it is more than 170. That's 1 mark for our yes or no, 1 for our answer, and then 1 mark for each of our values in our formula. Oh no, hang on, 1 mark for our formula, sorry. And then our 4th mark comes from showing a check of our working. So to do that, we just need to take one of our sums and do it backwards. So in this instance, I can just take my 172.33 and times it by 18. I think you get 310. It's not quite there. I think it's 3101.94. Let me double check that. Yeah, that's really sad that I remembered that. 310194. So it's not come out as an exact number, but that's still a valid check. The reason being, we've rounded this to get our 33. So it shouldn't come back exactly. But we're only talking about 6 pence difference. So that's still a valid check. If you've left it on your calculator of all the 3s, you will come back to the 3102, which is fine. But if you get that answer, don't let that panic you. That's okay. It's just because you've rounded your answer. But it's close enough that it's a valid check. Okay. So, a conversion question. No one really likes doing conversions. It's often a bit of a struggle when we do this topic. Let's see how we do. So, a company are advertising products in France. One French website is charging €195 per advert, and the company are buying 5 of these adverts. The exchange rate is £1 equals 1.1025 euros. We need to work out what the total cost of 5 adverts in pounds will be. So I haven't got the marks on the page here, so this should be 1, 2, 3 marks for this question. So you've got 3 minutes. Multiply. But your other clue is, in our conversion, the pound, 1 is a lower value than 1.1025. So if I'm converting from my euros, my number should be going down because £1 is a lower value. I should be getting smaller, not higher. At the end of the week, his mileage is 2,834 miles. He knows that he used 75.2 litres of petrol during the week. The handbook states that the limousine uses 1 gallon of petrol for every 20 miles. He wants to know if his limousine does use 1 gallon of petrol for every 20 miles. And we know that 1 gallon is the same as 4.54 litres. And you need to work out if his limousine uses 1 gallon of petrol for every 20 miles that week. So 4-mark questions, you've got 4 minutes. There are 3 possible methods that you can follow with this question that I'm aware of. So I will go through all 3 of them. But yes, take 4 minutes, see how you get on with this one. This one, they're all fairly similar. It's just slightly different ways that your brain might tackle it. So I will run through the 3 possible ways to come to the answer for this question. All of them do, however, rely on us finding the difference between his mileage at the beginning and at the end of the week. So that's something we have to do, whatever method we choose. So I'm going to do 2834 minus 2529. Get 305. So that's how many miles he drove during that week. So, one method, I'm going to take my 305 miles and I'm going to divide it by 20 to find out how many gallons he used, because it says 1 gallon for every 20 miles. So, 305 divided by 20 gives me 15.25 gallons. I know that he actually used 75.2 litres of petrol, so I can convert that into litres to find out if it matches the value. I'm going from gallons to litres, I'm going left to right, so I'm going to multiply. So if I do 15.25 times by 4.54, I get 69.235 litres, so no, that's less than my 75.2, so that's not correct. Another option is I can take my litres and I can turn that into gallons. So going back the other way, litres to gallons, we divide by 4.54 and I get 16.56 gallons. I can then times that by 20 to find out how many miles, if it was 20 miles per gallon. And that would bring me out at 331.28 miles. So again, I know that it was 305. So this answer is too high, so still no. The third option is to think about something that I've already done for the other 2 questions. So my 305 divided by 20 to get my gallons per mile. And then also where I've converted my litres into gallons, 75.2 divided by 4.54. And I can compare those 2 numbers, which is also different values, so still no. So those are your 3 options. You've got 1 over here, 2 here, I'll come back, and 3 there. 1 mark is for saying no, and 1 mark is for finding your 305, because you've had to do that for all 3 methods. And then the other 2 marks are for your conversions within your method. So whichever method you've chosen, at some point you've had to multiply or divide by 20, so that's worth a mark. And at some point you've had to multiply or divide by 4.54, so that's your other mark. So as long as you've worked out your 305, you've multiplied or divided by 20, and you've multiplied or divided by 4.54, and you've come to the answer of no, you can get all 4 of those marks. Okay. Haven't got any more conversion questions, you'll be pleased to know. We are going to look instead at a plan and scale. So this is one of those questions where you're doing it at home on your bits of paper or whatever it is you've got. So estimation is absolutely fine. Rough ideas. Mostly we're focusing on if you've roughly come out with the same answer as it will be when I come to that bit. So we're just looking at part A because this bit over here is part B. So ignore that bit for now. We're just focusing on this bit. Josh creates a picnic area in the park. He wants to put 3 identical tables into the picnic area. Each table needs a rectangular space 1.8 by 0.8 metres. And the tables must be at least 0.8 metres away from the entrance, 0.4 metres away from the hedge, and 1 metre away from each other. We've got a scale diagram here. So according to our key, 1 square on the grid is 40 centimetres by 40 centimetres. And the black line basically going around the outside is our hedge. So you need to draw the spaces for the tables for Josh on the grid. We've got 3 minutes for this one. I'm going to go and convert my centimetres into metres rather than the other way round, even though it's into decimals, just because I only have to convert 1 number. But if I convert my metres, I have to convert 4. It's just laziness. So 40 centimetres is going to be 0.4 metres because 1 metre is 100 centimetres. Got that cent word again. So I can just do 40 divided by 100. And then I can work out how many squares each of my measurements are going to take up. So 1.8, and again to do this I just need to divide. I take my 1.8 and divide it by 0.4. And that will be 4.5 squares. 0.8 is 2. So that's how many squares I'm using on my grid. So again, 0.8 from the entrance space is 2 squares. 0.4 is just 1 square, and 1 metre is 2.5. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour in all the area that I cannot put a table, because then that just leaves me with the space I'm working with. So if I want it to be 1 square from the hedge, I'm going to block out that section around the outside. So no tables in this area. It has to be 2 squares from the entrance space, so I can block out that space too. Oh, I always do that. There we go. And it doesn't look very nice, but what it does do is make it quite clear where I can put the tables. So I'll switch colours just for ease. Each of my tables is going to be 4.5 by 2 squares. 4.5 squares, there's no way I'm going to fit them all in that bottom section. So I can see that these 2 bits on the sides are 2 squares wide. So it makes sense to me that I'm going to put 1 table in each of those. And then my final one is just going to go somewhere in the bottom. 2 squares by 4.5. Again, it doesn't matter what way round your tables go. It doesn't say anything about that in the question. I've got 3 tables and they're all at least 2.5 squares away from each other. So you can see on the bottom there, I've drawn it. There's 3 squares available, but I've drawn it towards the bottom because that way there's a gap here of 1/2 a square, so I can fit it in. Okay, so 3 marks for that question. So hopefully you thought about putting your table somewhere like that. 1 mark is for doing your conversions, putting them to scale on the grid. Obviously, you don't have to have written it out like that. I think it's helpful to, but if you've got them on the grid, then that shows you've done a conversion. You basically get 3 marks. It's for getting one of 3 things correct. So 1, you've managed to do them the right size. 1, you've managed to meet the criteria of where you put them, and 1, you've managed to draw all 3 tables. It's always a bit weird trying to do the marks for these because it's kind of just drawing it to get it. Okay, so then we've got our part B over on the other side. Yes. So Josh needs to build a concrete base for each of these 3 tables. Each concrete base is a cuboid 0.8 by 1.8 by 12 centimetres. He thinks that 0.5 metres squared will be enough to build all 3 bases. Is he correct? So 1, 2, 3. So that's another 3-mark question for that one. I'll give you another 3 minutes. See if you can work out what to do with that one. Is in centimetres and the other in metres. So again, I've got a conversion here. My answer is in metres cubed. So again, I'm moving centimetres to metres, not the other way around. So 12 centimetres, if I want to turn that into metres, I'm going to multiply it by 100 this time. No, hold on. I'm still dividing, sorry. Why did I say that? To get me 0.12 metres. So to find the volume, we're just multiplying our 3 lengths. We're doing 1.4 times 0.8 times 0.12. That's going to give me 0.1728 metres cubed. And we're looking at 3 bases, so I'm going to times that by 3 to get 0.5. My brain can't keep up with my... 0.5184 metres cubed. So that's more than 0.5, so no, he's not correct. So your 3 marks here is 1 for turning your 12 centimetres into your metres, timesing it by 3 for 3 bases, and then your answer for saying no. Okay. Angles questions here. So we've got 2 shapes. First one is a parallelogram. Has 2 pairs of equal angles. And you need to work out what the degrees are for angles A, B and C. And your second one is a triangle. You've been given 1 angle and you need to work out the missing angle A. So these aren't strictly from an exam paper. So they don't have a mark scheme attached to it. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, though, to do this one based on what you need to do. So see how you get on with that one. We've got 2 pairs of equal angles. The first thing we need to think about, though, is how many degrees there are in a parallelogram. It's a 4-sided shape. So what's our total number of degrees?
300. 360.
Yeah, good. 360 degrees. That's our starting point. And we've got 2 pairs of equal angles. So although it's not to scale, we couldn't literally measure it. When it comes to a shape like this, we're looking at opposite angles. So these two are the small ones and the other two are the wider ones. So we're going to use that information to help us find our missing angles. So if the opposite angles are equal, then A must also be 70 degrees. And then to find C and B, we want to do 70 plus 70 to get 140. And we can take that away from 360 to find the remaining. It's 220. So that's the total of C and B together. And we know their opposites are equal, so we can just divide it by 2. So B and C are then going to be worth 110 degrees each. Then we've got our triangle. So what's our total number of degrees in a triangle?
180.
180, good. Yeah. So we want to remember these numbers because it won't be given to you in an exam question. Yes, in a triangle, it will always be 180 degrees. So there's 2 ways you can tackle the bottom one. The first one is if we look at our line of symmetry there, it means that both sides of that triangle are going to be the same, which means this on the opposite side must also be 40. And then we can do 40 plus 40 is 80. We take that away from our total of 180. To get 100 degrees. So that would be for the whole angle. We only want half of it. We only want A. So again, we can divide that by 2 to get 50 degrees. The other option, if I switch colours, is we can take this as a straight line for our triangle and call that a right angle down there because it's a nice straight line and the bottom's a nice straight line. And then we've got 90 and 40 is 130, and we can take that away from 180 to get 50. Because this is still a triangle, so it's still 180 degrees in total. Again, it's just how your brain works, but you're getting the same answer either way, so it's the right, your method's fine. Good, okay, let's look at next one. I might make this our last. No, we've got a bit more time than that, that's fine. Okay, so Louis makes a cake. The cake is in the shape of a cylinder with a diameter of 14 inches. He needs to put a ribbon around the cake, and it will go round once with a 6-inch overlap. Louis has a piece of ribbon that is 48 inches in length, and you need to work out if that ribbon is long enough for the cake. 3 marks, you've got 3 minutes for this one. Find here. So because we're putting the ribbon around the outside, we're looking really for the perimeter, but it's a circle. So perimeter for a circle, also known as circumference. You don't have to know that necessarily, but you do need to know the formula to find it. So to find the circumference of a circle, it's pi times the diameter. So we're doing 3.14, which is pi, times our diameter of 14. That should give us 43.96 inches. And he wants a 6-inch overlap, so we just need to add that on to get 49.96. His ribbon is 48 inches, so no, it's not long enough. 3 marks, so 1 for the no, 1 for finding your diameter, your circumference, and then 1 for adding your 6 inches on. Again, that's one of those formulas we have to remember. It won't be given to you in the paper, unfortunately. Okay, I am going to call it the last question because I just want to talk about a couple of things before I let you go. So I will send you the PowerPoint. There are a few more questions on here, so if you want to have a go at them, do feel free to send me any work if you want to, but it's not, it's not homework. You don't have to. I'm sure there's other things that you might need to do more, or you might be focusing on different types of revision. It's absolutely fine. So as I said, this is the last sessions because next week is the exams. I've already lost what I was going to say. Oh yeah, that's it. So spend your time wisely with your revision. Think about the things that you struggle with and try and target those areas. So I did send you all of that stuff in the last week. So hopefully you've got plenty to revise from, but also you do have Century as well. One thing that is a good tip for the exam is to, although you cannot take notes in with you, if you've been revising and you've things about like the method to find a fraction and your formula for an area of a circle and those things, if you do that, however you rise, flashcards, whatever, when you first get into the exam, before you even look at the exam, you can have scrap paper or plain paper to write on. So write down as many of those formulas and helpful tidbits and stuff that you can remember as possible. Because then when you do get into the paper and a question comes up and your brain goes, oh, I don't know what to do, you've got a bit of paper to prompt you. So although you can't take it in with you, when you first get in, you can make your own notes to use as your own guide throughout the paper. And I do think that's probably better to do at the beginning rather than when you're partway through and you're already a little bit overwhelmed by everything and you've got enough to be worrying about and thinking about. Try and get it down on the paper as quick as you can. So as I say, the results take about 2 to 4 weeks to come back. So we are looking, it will be January that we'll be letting people know. Obviously, based on results, we will then figure out next steps. So whether or not you're done and that's fine, or whether or not you want to come back and do another block or just want to get rebooked for a test, we will get to that and we'll let you know in January, whatever the outcome. I am going to also... We've got a student survey that we're asking everyone to complete. So I'm going to pop the link for that in the chat for you. You don't have to do it now, but if you could get it done at some point, that would be fantastic. It does only take about 5 minutes. It's not super in depth, but do be honest because we're going to use that to help us improve things for the next block where needed. If you do have any issues or questions between now and next week, then obviously do feel free to email me. Sharice, I've got your email. I'm going to message you back about your exam. I'm trying to sort something out about that